Recording in progress.
And welcome to the second session of High Vibe Channeling for this December 11th, 2025. We just had a fabulous session from Yvonne Buonamici, or Buonamici, sorry. And now we are going to bring in myself, Ray Heitman, and the Usol, who have a message which they would like to give to everybody, and then we'll move on to the Q&A and an open forum once that ends. So one moment, please. And indeed, we have come to you once more because we just cannot get enough of all of these smiling faces. And we have brought a message to you, and we have even decided to share it. And although we sincerely agree with all of the information which was presented in the previous session, we are going to stick to this particular realm in which love is present and relevant. For we are tonight going to label our session as we are the doctor of love. And we are bringing this to you as good medicine. And because we have somewhat of a reputation we have carefully cultivated with funny bones, we are going to start with a horrible joke which our higher self had attempted previously and butchered to no end, which was hilarious in itself. But the joke they meant to tell is, what is endless love? And the answer is, although it is dated, Ray Charles and Stevie Wonder playing tennis. And we shall let you ponder that one, or giggle, or whatever response you have. And we shall get on to more serious topics, which is love. For in your particular chosen experience, your realm which you have cultivated so divinely, everything in your experience is an expression of love. And that may strike some of you as a little bit far-fetched. And it should, because you are all not in the same place. You are all a stream of consciousness, and some are farther upstream, and some are farther downstream, and some are in the eddies, and some are in the tributaries. But you are all part of the same stream of consciousness, having experience in different parts. But we wish for you to think about everything that you say and do and think. Is that the expression of love you wish to put forth? You wish to bear fruit. You wish to give to everything in your environment. For that is indeed what you do. And although that bright light of love can be diminished or tarnished in your expression of it, it remains pure. But you control how that is expressed. And we wish for you to ask yourself repeatedly and often, is this the love I know? And think on that, for that changes things. For in your realm, it carries a vibrational weight. It speeds up that vibration which you experience and interpret as love when you first meet someone who stirs those romantic interests within you. Your heart beats faster, your cells vibrate differently, and your vibration increases, your vibrational frequency range. And you interpret that as love. And even once you depart, you are injected with extra vibrational frequencies to help you identify that you have just received more love, until you learn differently, that that was merely a sleight of hand, we will say, to get you to drop your physical reality persona and reabsorb all of that energy back into your truer, higher, grander self. And yes, as expressed earlier, those are terms for your benefit. But any terms which you utilize are only good in your realm. They are the expressions which are read outside of it. Those energetic resonances, which are those things which matter. And you do a fine job of that, for that is all you can do. So you are your own doctors of love. For you doctor love in everything you do. You decide what color, what flavor, the strength, the energy behind it. And you disguise it. And you put demands upon it at times. And you have a wonderful variety of exceptions, or not really exceptions, but experiences which you bring forth of it. Each is unique. And when you think of the different types of love, of course there is only one, which is interpreted and given to you in these sessions and others as divine source, that light which comes and shines upon you. But of course, it all has different expressions in different realities. But we are focused on yours and how you doctor the love you express, and urge you not to put conditions upon it. Now, in your particular reality, you do not have to like anything. And it is some fine distinction to love your enemy and despise what they do, what they stand for as you understand it. But of course you can do that. For when you love, you are doing so from a non-physical viewpoint. You are bringing that portion of your higher self in to your experience. For that is indeed the eye of love, the sensory abilities of your higher, grander, truer self. And that is all you're doing. You are allowing that energy to flow through into your reality. You are turning on a faucet, so to speak, to water things so they grow in a most fabulous fashion, if they accept that and believe that they are worthy of it. That is your free will choice. And some would rather wither than accept that gracious, sacred water. But we know all of you say, fill it up again. I would love to have more and more and more. And give me a go cup too, so I can take more with me, because I can't get enough. And that is what we would like for you to imbue in others, to water them with that love that you have. When you use your words, taint them with love. Tell people you appreciate them and tell them why. Give them details Watch their faces light up. That is how you doctor your love. Doctor your love to bring people up, to raise that vibration, because it raises your vibration. Because that is why you came. You came to express that. And the higher the vibrations, the more of your reality in truth you get to experience, because it all will not fit in this nice little cubbyhole you have created. And if you keep it small by lowering vibrations, then it stays full of those things which you find most undesirable. But if you, in truth, lighten up and bring those revelations, that energy of love, into your encounters consciously, then you know what happens. You bond with people. They end up reflecting that love back to you. You can get special favors in your physical realm. You can get lots of other benefits. People will like you. People will recommend you. People will speak highly of you if they are inclined. And you will attract many other beings who also are drawn by that vibration of love which you have brought forth. And that is why you are here in this particular expression of reality. And although we have doctored our love with this expression, we hope that it pleased you. For that is why we are here. We are here to create smiles and interact and to bring you wisdom to help you grow in whatever ways you prefer. And we shall open it up for your questions, which we know you have, and we hope you find the voice to express them.
ChristinaAnna.
Hello.
And greetings to you. What a lovely way to start.
Greetings. I just wanted to say that I missed you, and thank you very much for the reminders.
Of course. You paid your ticket. You at least deserve a show.
Who wants to be next?
Well, actually, I wanted to ask, we've talked about my cats, and
And they have talked about you as well. They say you're coming along quite nicely, but rather slowly in their ways. But they do not think highly of a whole lot of people in your realm.
well, they seem to be happy towards me, but sometimes they are not happy between themselves. So they attack each other. And I feel it's not just play. Is it because they have different characters like we do?
It can be for any number of reasons. Do you believe that they harm each other?
I believe that they would if I didn't intervene.
Are they expressing their love as bullies?
I don't know.
They are setting boundaries. They are having disagreements about many things because they see things their own way, and they are both royalty. They understand that they are supreme beings and who happen to have human slaves. And sometimes they wish to control those human slaves or move those boundaries which please them more. And it infringes on those other supreme beings who are wrapped up in your cats. And they push back a bit. And if they cannot work it out on a spiritual level, then they put the gloves on, so to speak, or put the claws out, and they tussle a bit. And they might bap a face here or there, and hiss and moan. But that is part of their expression. They are merely communicating. It is just like you sending a text, or responding, or speaking. That is all they are doing. And as long as they are not hurting each other, let them go. Let them know they are expressing their love in their own way. And do not interpret them by human terms. And although your big heart wishes for everyone to get along and to love each other and support each other and respect and honor each other, which is why you are so esteemed in the higher realms, because you have that open-hearted viewpoint, attitude, aptitude. And you wish to express that to all things in your environment, including your kitties. But we suggest you ignore them and let them work it out. But if you talk to them and listen, you may get some more information on this. But
I will try.
But they may not decide to share with you because you are, in their terms, only a human. Now, fill that food dish again.
Well, I do talk to them, but you see, they happen to be now in this household, and one of the rules here is that it should be loving and there should be no fighting. So, but thank you, yes.
But that is one of your rules,
Yes.
not their rules.
Anyone else wants to ask a question or make a comment?
I would actually love to hear the cosmic definition of love, because I feel it varies quite a bit from the human idea of it.
Well, we can answer that, but you may not like it because it is whatever you believe it is. And if we tell you it is one thing, you still need to interpret that in your own way. You need to integrate that so it makes sense to you and fits the constraints and the ideas and ideals which you have brought forth. And you have set up a certain amount of boundaries of love, we will say, which you are willing to accept as love. Which is why your wars and your disdainful deeds and chaos, although they are expressions of love, do not get interpreted as such. Because you have those boundaries of love and you say, oh, well, that is outside of this, so we are not going to consider it love. It is just a mighty poor expression of love in that judgmental term which we give to you. Now, we would say, to help you reconcile that term, unconditional is love. When you unconditionally love all things, no matter what they do, are, or represent, that is one of the highest expressions of love which you can incorporate into your physical reality being. Now, you will find, as you vibrate higher and higher, that you are able to incorporate even more love underneath that unconditional umbrella. And that is indeed what the extraterrestrials are bringing to you. That they wish for you to get to a point where they can give you more and more and more love, which has to do with your vibrational frequency ranges again. And once you raise those up, you can fit more love in. It's like having a bigger love basket. And instead of having a little basket, you can get a shopping cart and just stuff that full of all of the good things which you love and which love you back. Now, does that vagueness work for you?
That vagueness. Yeah, it seems like there's a very fine line between unconditional and indifferent.
Again, that is all dependent on how you view them. For in truth, there are no lines. It is all just a different flavor of expression. And it is all love. For indifference is love, is it not? For if you are indifferent to the misdeeds of others because you love yourself enough to preserve that energy which you have attained and do not wish to have it tainted in ways by exposing yourself to lower vibrational resonances. It may appear you are indifferent, but that is too another judgment. Unconditionally speaking.
That's very interesting. So that sounds like the stance the higher self, quote unquote, would take when we are judging them for what we perceive as, tough love or not necessarily super sympathetic. From their ankle, they're saying, hey, I'm protecting my energies from your low vibe judgments.
And we do enjoy how you like to assume what the higher self from your less than 1/3 of 1% viewpoint is. You have labeled and passed judgment on the whole higher self, all by yourself.
Well, no, I was seeing it from their point of view, and this time around, it sounded like
Please go on.
What you were saying.
Well, the fact that you say that you can see it from their higher view means that you really have only your physical attributes to interpret that and to explain it. For there are no eyes in the higher self, either physical as your peepers or as your individualized consciousness. And the whole idea of a higher self having an individual consciousness is truly absurd from that viewpoint, because it is not. And going back to the river stream of consciousness, which you are part of, you could say, well, this little mud puddle is different from the bottom of this mighty river. But is one better than the other? Does one have more sacred water? Does one have water which is higher evolved than other waters? It is all one. It is all one water. There is only one water on your world. It just has multiple divisions in the way you perceive it. The same is true for consciousness. So when you say higher self, and we do understand that that term has great benefit in understanding because it establishes a better understanding for you to integrate. But that does not mean that is what it is. It is just what that is for you. And we hope you can see that from our point of view.
Thank you.
ChristinaAnna.
Hello again.
We're glad you don't come back with your claws out.
No. I have a lot of love. for you especially.
Yes, and thank you. You make our invisible heart beat faster.
Oh. You mentioned water, and I love I love water as well, and it's one of the most precious things we have. And I was thinking that snowflakes are such a rapid expression of water. And I was wondering if you could comment on the geometry of the snowflake and how it also translates across dimensions.
A couple of points. The water in your realm, even every drop, is different. It is geometrically different. It is composed of different substances. It has its own individualized consciousness. Now, they may all look the same to a certain degree, but they are never the same. Nothing is, as your snowflakes in your experience are not, and nor can they be, because they all occur in a different blinking off and on time. They all occur in your physical world in different humidities, in different wind currents, in different compositions of atmosphere. And they all assume different shapes because all that is desires uniqueness. That's all it creates. It is masterful at not having a carbon copy. So you will find no Timu tag on anything that all that is creates because there are no copies. But those are indeed expressions which you have created. You interpret that energy in your own ways. You see those designs. And the snowflake that you show to others, they may see it completely different because they interpret different. They perceive differently. That is their choice. They can do nothing else. For they agree when you see snowflakes, that is your shared reality. You say, I see this experience. I see this energy, and this is how I interpret it. But it is all you. You. It is you creating those delicious snowflakes, those layered, or leveled bits of artwork, those divine, delicate expressions are you. You created it all. And you take that energy, and that water energy may not be water in other realms. It could be smoke. It could be a conscious being. Well, they are conscious beings, but more physicalized and mobile as a biped, or maybe a centipede, or whatever it might be. Because all of those elementals are utilized over and over and over again in different realms, and each one has a different expression. So that little snowflake, which you are so fond of, may be a dragon energy in another realm. It depends on how it chooses to express itself and how those expressions are interpreted by the beings in those realms. And we hope that that clears up a subject which cannot be understood clearly.
That was wonderful and very nice things for us to ponder on.
And you are a divine snowflake to us. And it is nice that you have taken the lead as the rest of these mannequins have fallen silent.
the concept of unconditional love, the sun exemplifies it for me every day.
It is a giving consciousness. And that is just the parts that you can perceive. The sun has a very loving heart, and it gives freely, and in your linear time for billions of years. But in fact, it just gives. Because it gives of itself as you give of yourself. And it does so without conditions that you perceive. But in truth, all expressions of consciousness have some conditions. It is the expressions of love which are termed unconditional, because that serves you, because that elicits the highest vibration in your known reality, which you can perceive. And we appreciate you bringing that example forth, because some would say, oh, it's the love of a mother for her newborn child. That is unconditional. She sees no fault in it. It is perfect. It is absolutely wonderful. But there is some personal bias in that too, for they say, I have created this and look how wonderful it is, therefore I have that wonderfulness in me. So it too is multi-layered. And the sun appreciates you appreciating it, as all consciousness does. It all seeks to be recognized for what it is, even if it is what you believe that it is. The fact that you reflect upon it affects every consciousness. At least that's what we hear.
It seems that the word unconditional also has a lot of layers and variations.
That is true because your lives are full of conditions. You have atmospheric conditions. You have different types of pressures. You have things that you feel you need to do, you wish to do, you dream about, you desire. And all of those are within conditions. Even if you say, oh, I would love to win the lottery. Well, you have a condition that there has to be a lottery. You have a condition that you have to play in some way and get your ticket. You have to have something to get that ticket with, or to find a way to get one in your possession. There is nothing in your realm which does not involve a condition, which is another thing to call a belief. For that is how they manifest. And unconditionally can be including all beliefs, or just saying no exceptions. But saying no exceptions carries a different connotation as well. For people do not understand that no exceptions, they put limits on no exceptions. When you say, thou shalt not kill, people will say, well, you can't cut your grass because then you're killing some grass. Or you squish a mosquito because it just will not take the hint. And you get tired of it. But are you expressing unconditional love? Yes, for yourself. But not for the mosquito. That is a condition you have accepted, and that is a condition that the mosquito has accepted when it came into the realm. It knows that in pursuing its highest fulfillment of trying to foster offspring and feed other forms, other organisms, and in some ways to pass along chemicals to you through your epidermis, that it might get squished, it might get smashed, it might suffer that quick death transition back to the consciousness which it was derived from. But we appreciate your distinctions and your wide view of unconditional, for it is wider than most. For you have attached yourself to more of the higher energy and funneled more of that into your being by purposefully expanding what you believe as your identity. So your view of unconditional is different than everybody else's view of unconditional, but yours may be a bit more encompassing, we will say.
I have to thank you for expanding that even more with the mosquito. I never thought that mosquito was trying to infuse me with some essential chemical material. And now I think I have a reason to love it.
Unconditionally.
Unconditionally, yeah.
And it's okay to kill them unconditionally.
That's right. That's also my right. Thank you. Anyone else? Step forward.
They are such a knowledgeable crowd. They have learned enough and filled their brains. Or maybe we have not been engaging enough. Maybe it was our joke and they are forcing us to do penance.
Maybe you can speak about love in all of its forms, like joy and fun and passion and all those kinds of things that are part of the picture.
Well, that goes back to one love, doctored in different forms. And by doctored, of course, we mean colored or applied based on the needs that are seen, that are felt, that are chosen. And those are all fine expressions of it. And in your realm, some of the highest expressions of it in your interpretations. But they are all just love. That is all you can do. For that's what brought you forth. But it is the love of creation. It is that innate yearning which Source imbues in all consciousness. That striving for newness, for expansion, for growth is love in your realm. And yes, if you infuse your lives with more of the things which bring you those expressions, joy, happiness, feel-goodness, then you live a much better life. That is the realm you have set yourself up in. It powers your world. It powers your experience. It powers your biology. And the more love you are able to bring into your life, the greater your opportunities for growth and expansion in different ways which you choose. For you do not limit yourself the way that others might. And again, that is a choice, a loving choice. And all of those expressions from a different perspective are equal. For all expressions, all consciousness is equal. Now, that is a rather ambiguous concept to try to absorb from where your perceptions lie. But it is true nonetheless. And it is really tough for humans to say, I am equal to that fly, or I am equal to that mountain. And even harder to say, I am equal to those droppings of feces that just came out of that kitty. But it is all just expressions of you. And you created it all. And some of it you have to clean up.
Thank you for the doctoring of love.
And thank you for coming in to fill the space left open by others who chose not to come forward. And we sincerely hope that they were enjoying the show anyway. And
They're
do not
loving
treat
it.
this as an intermission.
They're loving it. I know it. I can feel it.
We trust your feelings, Mr. Louise. And with that, we shall pause and allow this session to move on to its next iteration of the open forum. And we thank you all for being silent partners in this co-creation and energetic partners for others. For it is all appreciated, as your focus is always appreciated, and we love it unconditionally, no matter how you interpret that. And we will now return you to your regularly scheduled human. And thank you for your time as you know it, and allowing us.
I had one question before you go, please.
Why,
May I
since you
ask
said
it?
please, how can we resist?
I had heard from a channeling from Cryon that talked about people's love for their animals and how that love infuses or brings about a greater expression of their soul. I want to see if I interpreted that correctly, or if you could give me an explanation on how our love affects other beings, like our pets or other animals that can give more of an expression of that back to us.
And we thank you for realizing that it is a reflection of you. And it is different for every consciousness, but it is the same for every consciousness based on the chosen expressions which it chooses to come through in. And we will give you an example of your vehicles. If you have a car and you hate it, you talk bad about it, you know it will break down, it costs you money, it doesn't perform the way you would like, and you fill it with that energy, it reflects that back to you. You will have those flat tires, those annoying lights showing up on your dashboard, the small things which seem to work flawlessly for others do not work on your car. And you will lose your keys perhaps more often, or other things like that. And with the animals, the same. They come to you as you give yourselves animals so that you can have a gift of the love which you came from to remind you of that love. And you have the choice to accept it and to return that love and feel that joy and build those connections with yourself in that expression of a pet. And that consciousness within it may come from many different sources and may blend and may switch. But it will still be reflecting what you give to it. And if you have pets which cower in fear when you walk into the room, then you know that you have that within you. And if they come and they wag their tail and they cannot get enough and they are so excited they wish they could jump out of their skin and just hang with you all of the time, for they seem to have missed you terribly, even though you were just in the bathroom, then that is true for you too. You have that love within you. But it all starts with the gift of love. You give yourselves gifts of love. Sometimes they are in pet form. Sometimes they are in tree form. Sometimes they are events. Sometimes they are a delicious meal or excellent service at a restaurant. And sometimes they are synchronicities. There are no limits to the expressions of love. And you have a good source in Cryon, for he allows you to think and interpret on your own. And he expresses concepts and gives you examples and urges you to seek your own way around or through them, which you are doing. So you are being a valuable service to all in this group and beyond by expressing that the way you have. And thank you for coming forth.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this opportunity.
Anyone else?
They're all waiting for us to say we are leaving so they can do that human thing and say, oh, okay, bye. Oh, let me tell you one more thing.
I forgot to ask you another question. Yes, I know.
But that is okay. That is their chosen expression. That is how they wish to express their love, in silence.
There's that concept of humans, of the heart and love. And sometimes we just feel the connection, and that is love.
And that does help to have a focal point. And it does serve a purpose because it has a huge energetic output and emanation in your physical forms, like your pineal gland does for your connections to your higher self. Those mechanisms which you have incorporated into your physicalized beings serve different purposes, just as every organ does. But they are all expressions of one thing. They just happen to have a lot of details which humans find relevant. And of course, you can always assume that you have all of those organs in your body at all times. But as long as your body functions, it really doesn't matter if they're not there, does it? As long as they show up when you look for them. But that is your illusion which you have created. A loving one, we will say. And one but a lot of individuals take for granted. Otherwise, you would have to think all of the time just to take a step or to pick something up. And that is bothersome. You do not wish to have that reality with the consciousness which you have now, in your now. And thank you once again for filling in that space between responses.
You're welcome. You're opening it more to try to understand what love is in other realms in which there's no humans.
That is true. And we will have nothing to add to that, for you have phrased it in ways which may stir the imagination, which is love in itself. just expressed differently, of course.
Heart or no heart, doesn't matter.
If you put your heart into it, it matters in this realm.
In this,
Because you have so many who are co-creating with that belief. You have those connotations which help provide it with a different resonance, which is desirable.
that brings me to coherence, which I label as streams of resonance that merge in the now.
We'll buy that. It is understanding.
Thank you. Send me the quarter, okay?
Our expression known as the check is in the invisible mail,
Thank you.
although this mail is visible.
Thank you so much.
And we thank you all for allowing us to come and participate for this little bit of time in your time. And we hope that you doctor up your love all pretty like, so everyone smiles when they see it, and they can feel it deep within their heart as we hold you within ours. For you are all expressions of us in ways, and we are an expression of you from a different perspective. And thank you.
We love you. Thank you.
They took it easy on my neck tonight.
Well, it's a love session. They have to be very kind to you.
Yeah, but when they said they were the doctor of love, they didn't say they were doctoring love, that we were doctoring love. That was part of, they pulled a fast one on me. They like doing that. They'll tell me one thing, and then they say, oh, we were just playing with the nuances. Welcome to the world of semantics. But that's okay.
Yvonne says, thank you, Ray. And we thank Yvonne also for the first
Yes.
session. Very powerful.
And now we have an open forum. If anybody has any questions, comments,
Comments,
Theories?
stories, anything.